Hi, my name's Amir and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to talk to you about color correcting. So color correcting is really trending at the moment. So I thought I would tell you guys, how to use it, when to use it, some product suggestions, and how to choose what kind of color corrector you need. So you need a basic understanding of color theory. So whip out a color wheel and that will help you figure out what kind of corrector you need. So basically any areas of concern, you need to target the underlying color there and then go for whatever is opposite it on the color wheel. So say for example you have a red blemish, you want to go across the color wheel to green or like a greeny yellow or like a really olive kind of colored concealer that has that yellow green undertone that is going to cancel out the red. Just like for example if you have bluey purple undertones in the dark circles around your eyes, you want to go for something that has a little bit of orange in it, whether it be like a light peach if you've got fair skin, or very deep skin you want to go for a more true orangey red. So I've just got this palette here from Enquires. So just to kind of go through a few color correction options that there are. So there is lavender here, and lavender is really good for lifting sallow skin. So if the skin is too yellow, the purple can really help lift and brighten. So you'll notice a lot of brightening primers have a purple in them. Next we've got the green. Green is a very common color corrector for people with acne, rosacea, breakouts. You can use it in a primer form, so it's just a slight green tint if you've got just a slight overall redness, or if you've got specific areas of concern, you can target them with your green concealer. Then we've got yellow. I personally like to use yellow. Sometimes I'll mix it with the green just to make it not as green, or otherwise I'll mix the yellow with my under eye concealer sometimes, just because my under eye circles aren't always bluey purple. Sometimes they start leaning towards a bit more of like a reddy purple. So I find that the yellow in there helps counteract those reddy tones. Then we've got a peachy color, and peachy colors are really good for around the eye area for light to medium skin tones. I always use a peach tone corrector around my eye area every day, no matter what. So now I've told you about the colors, I'm going to show you what I personally do when color correcting my face, so that hopefully it helps you with color correcting your own face. If you really like this video but couldn't quite figure out how to adapt it for yourself, comment below and let me know what your skin concerns are. In the future I do hope to have guests here where I can do their makeup, because they'll have different features and skin concerns than mine. So personally when I start out, I like to use a brightening primer of some kind. I really like the Stila One Step Correct. This is nearly run out, so you can't see the nice swirl anymore, but it has a little bit of green, purple and pinky kind of color in there. So it's just a really nice hydrating primer that brightens the skin and slightly will tone down a little bit of redness. Not too much, but just a little bit, which is good because overall generally my skin isn't too red. It just has a slight pink tinge, whereas my body has a more yellow tone. I often like to use the Bare Minerals Prime Time because it is a yellow primer. So the yellow is really good for lifting and brightening the face. As I said, my face has a slight bit of pink through it, so adding that little bit of yellow helps cancel out the pink without going too green, because I don't have a severe amount of redness in my skin. Overall, just a little bit of yellow does help tone down the little bit of redness I have enough for me. If you have really red skin all over, you might want to get a green primer or even take some green concealer and mix it with your primer just to get a sheer layer all over your face. Next, I go in with my correctors where I need them. Personally, I don't need them every day, all over my face. I don't need to go in with everything. I will use them if I am wearing a sheer foundation, a BB cream, CC cream type thing, and I don't want to put like a million layers of concealer on top afterwards. So I will take something like this green concealer. This is the LA Girl Pro Concealer in green, and I will pop this onto my blemishes. So So I've got a little blemish on my nose, on my cheek. I get a little bit of redness around the corners of the nose, so I'll pop it in there. And I get a little bit of redness on my chin. Anywhere where I have pink showing through, I take a little bit of this, and I like to dab it in because I find that I just kind of blend out the edges without moving the product around too much. When using extreme colors like green with color correcting, I always do it before my foundation. This means that the foundation should then counteract the green. Then I use my peachy toned corrector around my eyes to cancel out my dark circles. Usually I do this after foundation because I don't put foundation in the eye area on a daily basis. I usually kind of go around because I know I'm going to need the concealer and, you know, the corrector anyway, and the extra layer of foundation doesn't do much, it just makes it a bit heavier around the eyes. So that's totally optional. It just comes up to your personal preference of what you want to do around there. The thing I notice people doing the most with correctors is applying way too much where they don't need it. I've seen, especially, you know, like with the red under the eyes that everyone's going, you don't want to take a red through this whole kind of triangle area where you would blend your brightening concealer. You only want to apply a little bit where it's needed. And you know, the red shades, they're good for really deep skin tones, but light skin tones, you need to use like a more kind of watered down version of the red. So like a light apricot, peach, like pink kind of color to cancel it out. When using a corrector, you only want to use a really small amount only where you're dark. So I use it through here on myself, and I don't bring it out here. Your corrector is going to cancel out the darkness or whatever it is. It's going to cancel out. So if I bring it all the way here, it's going to cancel out here and it kind of neutralize, but then up here it's just going to be red, you know, and then you have to cover up the red, and it's like defeats the purpose. So I only apply just the tiniest bit where you need it. When applying it, you want it to almost be as though you could wear it on its own without an extra layer of concealer or foundation on top of it. It should almost blend into the skin and neutralize more or less. It doesn't have to go completely away, so when I'm using it on like my spots, I don't keep layering it up until it's a green dot. I just apply a little bit on there to tone down the red so that then my foundation and concealer can go in and cover it as needed. So use your correctors on the areas that you need. Then you want to go in with your foundation, BB cream, whatever it is, and apply it to your face. Now, since you've got that layer of concealer / corrector underneath, you need to be careful when applying your foundation on top. If you apply it with your fingers normally and rub it in, it's just going to move around the corrector and kind of mesh with your foundation and smudge off. So what you want to do is use some kind of stippling, buffing brush, sponge, and just press your foundation into the skin. I like to use the Sigma F80 Kabuki, just a flat top brush, and tap it into my skin, and then I like to go over with my beauty sponge just to tap it, just to kind of soften it, and yeah, that's how I apply it. Once your foundation's now on, your skin should be pretty good to go. Now this is where I go in with maybe if I need a little bit more concealer, like if I've got an epic breakout, and then I go in with my lighter concealer to brighten up the areas on my face that I want to be brighter. You want to lightly set any areas of your face that you've layered up lots of products, because you don't want them to slip around and move too much. If you have redness over your face, I do know of one good powder that has a slight green undertone which neutralizes on the face to tone down redness, and it's the Napoleon Perdis Camera Finish Foundation Powder in G3, and it has a gorgeous olive green undertone. So if ever I was doing someone's makeup, and usually most people set their foundation with powder anyway, so instead of adding that extra layer of concealer on, you can opt for something like that has that slight green undertone. You're going to use powder anyway. That green undertone is just going to cancel out that last little bit of redness. And if you look at it, it doesn't actually look green. It's not until you hold it next to like a kind of yellow based powder that you can really see the difference. But yeah, that's totally optional. That's just something that I remember used to be in stock when I used to work at Napoleon, and it was awesome. And I actually got some for my mum, and it's really good. I actually should get some for myself because sometimes my nose gets really red. Yeah, that's pretty much how you color correct. It's not that hard once you get the hang of it. It's really just, the main things you need to know are double check on a color wheel if you're not sure what is opposite your area of concern. I used to have no idea. I used to know I needed to color correct my eye area, but I was not using the right colors at all. Once you get it, it's like a miracle and it just fixes everything. Number 2, don't use too much, only use a little bit exactly where needed, and then buff out, you know, foundation, concealer on top of that to then, you know, completely even out the area. And 3, have fun with it. It's only makeup. If you stuff up, just wash it off and start again. So yeah, the more you practice, the better you're gonna get at stuff. So have a play around with your color correctors, see what works for you, and yeah. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up so my video can reach more people and help them. Subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all in my next video. See ya.